All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to our last Small Business Resiliency Workshop of 2025. My name is Jimena Villaseñor, Business Program Manager at the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce. And thank you all of those who are joining us via our multiple social media platforms. We'll give people a few more minutes to log on. But just a little bit of background about this particular series. This is an initiative that the chamber started last year as a way to shed light on the tools and resources, information that is out there, and of course, guidance on a variety of topics aimed at enhancing, well, the resiliency and success of our small businesses. So, just a quick housekeeping item. We are streaming via our multiple social media platforms. So if you have any questions, our guest speakers will be able to answer them at the end of their remarks. So please make sure to submit those questions in the chat box of the designated platform, and we'll read those on our end and answer those when time is up for that. So we have two great presentations lined up today, and I'm very excited to hear from our guest speakers. First up, we have a great partner of the Chamber joining us today to cover a very important topic in today's ever-changing landscape. Jordan Crenshaw, who serves as a Senior Vice President at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's Technology and Engagement Center. He leads the day-to-day operations of their policy team and also manages the Chamber's Privacy Working Group, which is comprised of nearly 300 companies and trade associations, and is responsible for developing a model, like developing model privacy legislation and principles. So he is here with us today to share about their recent report, which is Empowering Small Businesses, the Impact of Technology on U.S. Small Business, which examines the pivotal role that diverse technology platforms have in helping small businesses operate and compete. So, Jordan, thank you for joining us today, and please take it away whenever you're ready.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for having me, and also really appreciate the opportunity to connect with our friends in San Diego. I think in terms of what I'm going to talk about today is really the benefits of technology for small business, and it is one of the key pieces of the puzzle here at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce as we look at the whole economy approach to technology. And at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, we're the largest business federation in the world. As part of my role, I represent and lead our tech center, which is our tech policy division. And our goal really is two things. One is to tell the story of technology and how it's improving the lives of Americans. And two, advocate for rational policy solutions that continue to enable companies, particularly small businesses, to use tech to their advantage. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about today is some of the work we have done on identifying how small businesses are using technology, and then a little bit of kind of what's happening in DC and what's happening in state capitals that could impact the ability of companies to use this type of tech. And so, one of the things that we do every year is we put together our Empowering Small Business Report. And what that is a nationwide survey of small business owners across the country, asking them about their attitudes about tech adoption, asking them about how they're using it to their benefit, and what are some of the impediments that really prevent them from using tech to their advantage. This year is our fourth year that we've done this report. In fact, we actually polled over 3,000 small business owners across the country. Two big things about this report that are new from other versions we've done in the past. One is we actually did 50 different state scorecards in terms of breaking down the numbers state to state. And then two, we actually did address issues around things like crypto for the first time and usage by small businesses there. But I think what are some of the key takeaways that we found from this report? What we found is that nearly every small business right now is using some form of technology platform, whether that's using a payment system or Square to facilitate transactions, using some kind of software-based bookkeeping work. Every company is using some kind of tech. But at the same time, really, I think the buzz right now is around two different types of technology in the small business space. One is artificial intelligence, and the other is crypto. And so what we found this year, in fact, actually was that 58% of small businesses nationwide are using some form of generative artificial intelligence. That number actually is up significantly over the last 2 years. In fact, 2 years ago, it was about a quarter of small businesses that were using AI. That number was about 40% last year, and now we're close to 60%. So that number is growing in terms of small businesses that understand the importance of this technology. Now, a few things to note as well. Despite concerns about AI and jobs, what we found is that 82% of small businesses nationally increased their workforce over the past year, those who are using generative AI. In fact, that number is a little bit higher even in California. In fact, 86%, sorry, of small business owners who are using AI in the state of California actually reported increases in the number of folks that they hired over the last year. And also 89% were actually able to grow sales in the state of California, those who are using AI. And that was a tad higher than those who actually are not using this technology as part of their arsenal of tools that they have in place to compete. Why is this important from a small business perspective? Well, one, small business owners do not have the same resources, particularly if you're just getting off the ground and starting up as a brick and mortar shop or starting your company in e-commerce online. Not the same resources that larger companies have, like things like hiring consultants for marketing or hiring consultants for things like product design. AI, what we're finding, is really kind of giving a leg up to small business owners to get off the ground and compete. And I think a couple other pieces, I think key takeaways that we found from this report is that although the small business owners understand the benefits of AI, there's still a barrier to adoption. I think what we're also finding too is that small business owners are showing growing optimism around the use of technology and its ability to help them get off the ground and compete. And actually, one of the things that I think is really interesting too, as we're dealing with things like tariffs and we're dealing with inflationary issues, nearly 80% of small business owners have credited technology with helping them cope with things like inflation and supply chain disruptions that have happened over the last few years. But one of the other pieces too that we asked about in this year's report is the issue of cryptocurrency. This is a new one that has really, I think, popped up in terms of interest from small business owners over the last few years. Obviously, there's renewed interest in Congress around this. We have, a czar effectively at the White House who's tasked with both AI and crypto. But one of the interesting things we found too was that nationally, about 37% of small business owners across the country are using some form of cryptocurrency or stablecoin as part of their tools that they're using to ensure that they can provide services to their customers. In California, it was a little bit lower. It's about 32% of small business owners are using crypto. And I think one of the interesting numbers that we also found nationwide is that 7 in 10 small business owners nationwide indicate they have high interest in using this in the future. And so it definitely is a type of technology that is being considered right now by small business owners in the future as part of a future plan. I think one example on the crypto side, I think in terms of how it's being perceived as useful is its speed and transaction, and also with things like fees internationally. Actually, I've had an opportunity to chat with several coffee shop owners across the country, in particular, who are using crypto to get faster transactions in their view, or dealing with lower fees. to facilitate transactions with their coffee suppliers abroad, for example. And so this is one example that we're hearing from some small business owners about how they're integrating crypto into their planning. Another way too that they're integrating it is they are looking at accepting it, or some are accepting it. Others are developing loyalty programs where you can actually use crypto to pay for partner products as well, or for their own services too. So they're actually thinking about it too in the sense of a rewards program, so that they can bring on new customers and retain customers as well through loyalty programs. So really interesting kind of to see what we're finding out on this front as well, in terms of the use of small business owners there with this type of emerging technology. But, I think one of the things I think is the most interesting here is really how are, small business owners using artificial intelligence. This is really kind of the issue area of the day. And it's really obviously the hot technology of the day that folks are talking about. But, some of the areas I would talk about here about are kind of the top use cases for small businesses in terms of utilizing this technology. So what we found in California alone, 39% of small business owners are using artificial intelligence to some degree for marketing purposes and to increase their ability to effectively reach new customers or get more eyeballs on their product. Really great example of this. There's a small business owner, Harag Kalebjian, who's actually out of San Francisco. He's a coffee shop owner. He runs Hendry's House of Coffee. He obviously has to compete with larger companies in the area who are coffee owners, coffee shops. But what Harag has said is that, with the handful of baristas he has a very, small group of employees he has. And also, time obviously is important as you're a small business owner. And making sure that you can cut down on time and costs when you can is essential. And what he's done, and he's I think countless other small business owners we've talked to have done, is he has been able to take terms, search engine terms, that he has used on places like Shopify that are recommended effectively to get more eyeballs for his product. Then he's actually able then to go to ChatGPT or something like Google Gemini, for example, and which is a large language model AI. Plug those terms in, plug his product in, ask for ad copy, ask for potential ways and descriptions he can put about his products online that are going to drive more engagement, drive more eyeballs, and then more revenue. He's been doing this. He said he's been able to cut his marketing time down by about 70%, which is, as small business owners know, is incredibly important as you're trying to get rid of having to focus so much time on back end business and actually focus on making and serving and providing the product you can. Harag also has a really great example too of another way he's using generative AI. And what he has done is actually one of the issues as he's dealing with his e-commerce platform is selling coffee outside of his brick and mortar coffee shop. And one of the things he realized is that as part of the process, you have to destatic coffee bags to ensure that they don't get dirty and to ensure that you don't gum up your production line and have to slow down to clean things up. He was actually able to go on ChatGPT and have it develop a custom system for his product line and his manufacturing area to destatic coffee bags. Went through the technical steps of building the equipment, and is a gentleman who very smart, business minded, but not an engineer, and was able to actually develop this hardware for his coffee shop so he could get more coffee out the door more efficiently, more quickly, without having to deal with some of the maintenance issues that are at play. And that's one of the things that really I think is very helpful for small business owners who are using this type of technology to really help them with some of these issue areas that they may not have thought could help them out there. One other issue area too, I think that we found too, is 34% of California small businesses are using AI for managing customer relationships and reaching out to customers, making sure that you're continuing to have those relationships, both with customers and vendors, is incredibly important. I actually had a chance to chat with Risa, who owns Jackie's Jams in the San Diego area, who told me that she's been able to cut down her time with writing emails and things like that by about an hour a day in terms of using generative artificial intelligence. And just really great examples of how this tech is able to really just help small businesses shave those hours off that can be used more efficiently for the company itself. A few other areas too, I think that are really interesting too, in terms of how we're finding AI is being used, is another ingenious way is about 1 in 5 small business owners in California have actually said that they have used generative artificial intelligence to help them with inflation and to directly handle issues that are coming from that. One great example, it's a small business owner, it's called Just Us Skincare out of the Coachella Valley, is actually it's two women who've actually started this company up, and it's an e-commerce platform. And as tariffs have begun to become an impact on small business owners across the country and increase costs, they're actually using generative AI to take their ingredients and plug them in and cross tab them to figure out where they can source ingredients that may not have as high tariff rates, for example, or help them cut inflationary issues for them as well. And so just really interesting ways that small business owners are looking at some of the more pressing challenges of our day today and using AI to help them quickly come up with solutions to solve their problems. But the variety of other great examples of how small businesses are using AI. I mentioned in the context of why it's important for small businesses to use this type of technology. As you're a 1 or 2 person shop, it's difficult to get the funds in many cases to hire design consultants and hire other consultants to get off the ground, which you can do later as you grow. But as you're just starting off, it's a tough prospect. Great example of a individual who's actually in Denver, his company called Soda Pup, where he actually has a dog toy line where he's working and using generative AI to help him design toys and products from a visual standpoint to make them more appealing for sale, and has been very successful at doing that. And so what we're finding is there's a variety of different types of tools that are out there for use when it comes to AI, whether it's image generation technology or it's, what we also found too is that even 1 in 5 small businesses are using AI to code so they can develop their own software and can develop their own technology as well to help further themselves. So just a lot of really interesting, innovative, ingenious ways that AI can be deployed by small business owners to grow and compete. I do think it is worth noting as well, that there are some impediments out there in terms of why small business owners are not adopting artificial intelligence, and it's important to know that we need to be looking at solutions to solve for that. About 40% of small businesses in California cited that they are worried about legal and compliance issues when it comes to generative artificial intelligence and whether or not they would actually use it going forward. And so the ones who are not using it, the top reason really is compliance issues for them. California obviously has enacted recently regulations with the privacy agency that deal with artificial intelligence and providing opt-outs for AI. I know that in terms of some of the estimates of how much that rule could cost small businesses, in addition to privacy rules that are being established, that could cost up to $15,000 a year. So it makes some small business owners think twice about whether or not they want to deploy the technology. Also there also is concern too about not having the right employees. So about 1 in 5 of the small business owners in California who are not using AI have expressed concern that they just don't have the training in place, or they don't have the folks in place, or are worried that they don't have the expertise. That's one reason why the Chamber in particular has been working with like-minded associations and groups to develop AI training skills. Actually, in fact, the U.S. Chamber, along with our co-branch as well as our foundation, have launched our AI Basics program that is designed to train up to 40,000 small businesses this year on how to use AI and remain competitive. But it also is going to take working with partners across the spectrum, whether it's community colleges, local chambers, much like the San Diego Chamber as well, to ensure that we can get out the word about the benefits of AI, but also how to effectively use it as well. And finally, would not be a U.S. Chamber spiel just to talk a little bit about the policy landscape that's out there and kind of how that impacts the use of small businesses when it comes to technology. One of the things that we found is part of our research is that a record number of small businesses are worried about having to comply with out-of-state laws that would drive up their compliance and litigation costs. In fact, 62% of California small businesses are worried that such an approach, where having to deal with potential new laws in places like Colorado, for example, and AI or other privacy rules, would hinder their ability to use the technology. When we've talked to small businesses in this survey, about a third of small businesses said that if they had to deal with complying with overly aggressive or comprehensive AI rules, they may consider actually reducing their use of AI. About a fifth said that they may actually just not use it at all. And so that's one of the reasons why we've been working, obviously, as the U.S. Chamber, to promote an environment in which we don't have a confusing set of different rules across the country that make it difficult for small business owners to comply. It's also another reason, too, on the second piece there, too, we really, truly believe that we need a national privacy law. AI needs data, and if you have 50 different data privacy laws throughout the country, it makes it incredibly difficult for compliance as well. And then finally, I mentioned too was the workforce piece, in terms of how do we get the country ready, but how do we also get small businesses ready when it comes to artificial intelligence? We're incredibly supportive of small business resources being able to be deployed and used, particularly if SBA has provided funding. We want to make sure small businesses can use that funding for AI and AI training if they need to. We also believe it's critically important that we build in AI training into K through 12 education, and also use AI in the community college context as well, to get folks who are needing to be reskilled in this skilled as well. So, there is a lot of benefit that we're seeing with artificial intelligence in every state throughout the country. But it amazes me, even in California, we have so many small business owners who have decided to really try this technology out, are growing and thriving with it, and really developing new uses for it that I'm surprised about. But are really ingenious and inventive, that are helping them grow and compete. So really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all today about this really exciting field, particularly as we're looking at things like AI and crypto in the future for small business use. And I'm more than happy to take any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you so much, Jordan. This is all very, very informative and exciting for us at the Chamber, as well as we prepare for a new year and also continue being advocates of the tech and innovation space. And I know that through our partnership with the U.S. Chamber, this has a really great future as well. So far, no questions in the chat, but I really wanted to ask you more on the policy landscape. I know we just got out of tumultuous time after that government shutdown, and other priorities are now being taken into consideration that are not related to appropriations. So have you heard anything up in DC about the federal moratorium on AI regulations for the states? Is it something that will probably be retaken? What are the conversations that are being had in that space?
That's a very good question. And one of the things that I think I'd note too, and I'd kind of set the table for why this is so important on the moratorium and learning period side, is Colorado was actually the first state in the country to pass a comprehensive AI law, and it actually had very weak protections and weak exceptions for small business use of AI. And so the way Colorado was structured was that if you put your own data into the AI system, effectively you lost small business protections, which negated any protection effectively whatsoever. But there was some research that came out in Colorado that showed that it would have cost the state about $7 billion in GDP and about 40,000 jobs. We extrapolated that for what that would have been nationwide and did a modeling of that economically as well. And what we found is that could cost the U.S. economy, if just Colorado alone, if it's applied nationally, $50 billion in GDP and also about 750,000 jobs. And that's just one state. And so that's why it's so important that we have a national standard in place that everyone has had a say into, not just one state or two states. Because this technology operates across borders, and as part of this, Congress has been looking at this. There was an attempt to do an AI moratorium with the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, the reconciliation bill from a few months ago. Clearly, there were some concerns there from a few folks in some states like Tennessee and Missouri who were kind of pushing against that. There was talk about putting that in the National Defense Authorization Act, which is going through Congress right now. That has Majority Leader Scalise from Louisiana has now said that will not be in the bill. I do believe that this will get another shot sometime, probably I would say early next year. But what I would say is that we do need small business owners going and talking to Washington about the need to have a single framework in place and not 50 different states creating confusion. Otherwise, this is an area where, only larger companies are going to be able to compete. And also nationally, we're not going to be able to compete too, as we have so many different frameworks where other countries have one.
Definitely. And that's a great segue as well. As we prepare for 2026, we are also keeping in mind our annual delegation trip to Washington, D.C. A little ad here. So that's something we will definitely revisit as the year begins. And we'll definitely look to you for greater guidance on how our small business owners and just delegates can really advocate for this issue. All right. We have one question in the chat, actually. So given the broad range of small businesses, what would you recommend is the best way to start understanding how to use AI? I know the U.S. Chamber has already a few programs that you mentioned. We'll definitely look into those as well. So it's something we could distribute within our membership too. But at a more general scope, what would your thoughts be on this?
Well, I think my first recommendation is you got to try it and start it on your own and put your hands on the technology and work and learn to prompt. One of the things I would say is really helpful. There's some great examples even on YouTube of ways to just kind of do basic prompting. And that's how Hrog learned, the coffee shop owner in San Francisco. He basically kind of just dove in and went on YouTube and kind of learned some basic prompting skills. But I also would say, too, I highly encourage small businesses to work with local chambers like the San Diego Chamber and others as they're putting out resources as well. But, one of the things I think is really important is as you're looking at the framework of how to use AI, you have to learn how to refine the questions you're asking it, because the product is only going to be as good as what you're asking it to do. And in many cases, too, I would say, you also need to be clear with generative AI about, things like what are the audience you're trying to use to reach, or what's the kind of tone you would like to use, particularly if you're using it in the marketing context or you're trying to use it externally. But I think in terms of basic knowledge, there's a lot of great places like YouTube. But yeah, obviously, if you want to dive deeper, come work with us and come work with the San Diego Chamber as well to develop skills that are a little bit more refined too.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much, Jordan. Everything is always very useful when it comes to tech and innovation, considering that It's one of our main sectors in San Diego, so we're always looking to dive deeper into these conversations. And thank you again for the continuous partnership, and we'll follow up with more questions and for further collaboration opportunities next year.
Of course. Thank you so much again.
Thanks, Jordan. All right. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
All right, everyone. Up next, as many of you know, workforce development and the creation of strong, sustainable talent pipelines are top priorities at the Chamber. So we just really aim on ensuring that our region's employers have access to skilled talent, both now and in the future. So with this in mind, I'm excited to welcome today's speakers from the State of California's Division of Apprenticeship Standards. We are joined by Laura Thompson and Abigail Mendez from the State of California's Division of Apprenticeship Standards again. They will be sharing insights on the state's efforts, opportunities, and more for employer engagement and how apprenticeship models can help strengthen talent pipelines throughout our region. So Abigail, Laura, please take it away.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Laura.
Oh, no, how about it? My name is Laura Thompson, Deputy Regional Director of Strategic Partnerships with Abigail Mendez, he's a business advisor. We're with Apprenticeship and Workforce Innovation. And from here, I'm just going to let Abigail take it away. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Fantastic. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I am Abigail Mendez. I am a strategic advisor here at the Apprenticeship and Workforce Innovation Unit of the Division of Apprenticeship Standards. We appreciate the time you're taking, and we look forward to sharing with you a little bit more about apprenticeship and how that can help your business grow. So let's get started. Today's session goals will be to understand the power of apprenticeship and how a registered apprenticeship works. I will outline how the Division of Apprenticeship Standard supports small businesses in this process, and we'll explore a partnership between us in that context. And then as a reminder, just want to invite anyone to put questions in, and we'll try to address them all at the end of the presentation. Before we begin, though, what I'd like to do is get an understanding of how familiar anybody out there might be with apprenticeship. And if you would, please, a number on a scale of 1 to 10 in the chat would be helpful to me. It'll allow me to gauge where to provide more or less detail during the presentation. So any numbers you have, any familiarity you have with apprenticeship, I would greatly appreciate that information. Sarah's very familiar. Yay. Wanda, also very familiar. Well, this is going to be great. Okay, well, given those numbers and some of the quiet out there, what I'd like to do actually is start with a basic definition, and that is, what is a registered apprenticeship? Wanda, out there, you might want to lean in too as people ask questions. It's great to have someone out there who runs a pre-apprenticeship and an apprenticeship program here in the state of California. But let me take a step back and just define simply what a registered apprenticeship program is, which is a structured program of training. It provides on-the-job experience with classroom instruction to prepare your workers for skilled careers. So the goal of any registered apprenticeship program for a small business is to build a workforce for you and provide pathways to employment and career advancement for your employees. Now, for most people, apprenticeship is associated with trades. Consider construction, building, firefighting. Laura and I are sitting here with you as part of an effort to bring registered apprenticeship to other industries. So we're part of the non-traditional sector that represents the industries that you see on the screen. I do want to underscore that all of the advisors at the Division of Apprenticeship Standards are here to serve at no additional cost to help build programs for both the trades and the non-traditional industries. So no matter where your business sits, we're here to help. Now, as Wanda can attest, there are key components to a registered apprenticeship program, and we help you build an ecosystem of support to ensure your program is successful. That ecosystem includes stakeholders such as employers who provide on-the-job training to apprentices, educators or local education agencies that deliver the work-related training, There's a government entity we oversee for quality and credentialing of your program. Of course, there are apprentices. These are employees under the earn and learn model. Some registered apprenticeship programs can include community-based organizations and workforce development boards who support your program. And every registered apprenticeship program requires a sponsor. This is the person responsible for owning the program, convening the stakeholders, running, managing, and launching your program. And Sarah, I'll go ahead and answer you now. I will make this presentation available after the recording. Thank you. Now, when you look at creating a registered apprenticeship program with the state of California, you have 3 models to choose from. There's a time-based model, the competency-based model, and a hybrid model. The time-based model is rooted in the trades where apprentices are expected to practice and hone their skills over time. So you can imagine carpenters and plumbers who require long-term structured training to ensure safety and technical proficiency. We find in the modern sectors that our programs are more competency-based, which measures an apprentice's ability to demonstrate skills on the job. An example here would be a cybersecurity technician, where quickly evolving digital threats and a mastery of the tools is more important than time and practice. Unsurprisingly then, a hybrid model has components of both time and competencies. Every registered apprenticeship program in the state of California has an expectation for 144 hours of classroom instruction, or what we refer to as related and supplemental instruction, and 2,000 hours of on-the-job training. My job as an advisor is to help build a unique registered apprenticeship program for your business. And that would include understanding your larger vision and helping you partner with a local education agency, identifying occupations for apprenticeship. I would help you discover funding sources, streamline the approval process, and facilitate additional partnerships. But that said, let's talk about you. According to the 2024 Small Business Survey by San Diego Regional EDC, I'm sure you're all familiar, small businesses represent 98% of San Diego firms and 60% of the workforce. You've identified that the biggest challenge is recruiting and hiring qualified staff. 43% of small businesses in the innovation economy plan to grow in the next 12 months. And smaller firms have had less volatility than larger firms over the last 4 years. While San Diego ranks 3rd for new business applications and 1/3 of small businesses in San Diego expect to increase hiring, partnering with the Division of Apprenticeship Standards is a good place to start. Given those trends, I do want to talk about a partnership and give it better context. These are some of the challenges here on the screen that have been identified by your group. I'm going to walk through how we can partner by looking at each challenge individually. First challenge is access to housing. I do want to say that apprenticeship does not inherently provide housing or housing access, but we can help indirectly, starting with stability and turnover. Was there a question? Okay, starting.
All good, all good.
Okay. When we talk about housing access, apprenticeship can help, starting with stability and turnover. We understand that housing insecurity often drives workers to leave jobs or relocate. An apprenticeship program helps businesses like yours train employees from entry level to middle income wages and even high wage jobs, making housing more attainable and reducing turnover. With regard to benefits and support, registered programs can unlock exclusive grants and funding, while workforce boards and community-based organizations can bundle apprenticeships with services like childcare or transportation. That said, it's all about how you build your program and the network that we create with you through the process. And then finally, when it comes to community investment, a registered apprenticeship promotes local hiring, lowering commuting costs, and keeping wages within the communities. Bottom line here is that apprenticeships don't build houses, but we do build the workforce and the wage stability that makes housing attainable. For a California small business owner, that means apprenticeships are both a talent strategy and a community resilience tool. The second challenge identified is discrepancy of AI use in the workplace, especially considering what Jordan shared before this. One way for us to address this challenge is through structured AI training. Registered apprenticeships combine on-the-job and classroom instruction. This allows employers like you to tailor AI training specific to your business needs. We can also support reskilling and upskilling. Because AI adoption can create a divide between tech-savvy employees and those without exposure, apprenticeships provide pathways for existing staff to adapt to AI, reducing displacement and ensuring all workers benefit from integration. Consider as well the importance of equity and access. California registered apprenticeship programs emphasize diverse recruitment, expanding training for AI opportunities to underrepresented groups, and reducing workplace inequality. And then finally, when it comes to compliance and responsible use, when you create apprenticeships and a registered apprenticeship program, you can embed compliance training so employees understand both the technical requirements and the ethical and legal responsibilities of AI use. California's small businesses face more challenges than just adopting AI. You have to ensure that your teams can use it wisely and inclusively. Apprenticeships help by building consistent AI skills, easing training costs, and promoting equal access across the workforce. Okay, this challenge you indicated is a tough one. We recognize that this is one of the biggest pain points for small businesses in California. And while there are possibilities for businesses to secure dollars for private employers with certain criteria, registered apprenticeship works to offset the financial burden of increased fees and taxes by reducing costs in other areas and unlocking alternate funding streams. Here's how we can help in this context. Under the umbrella of increased fees and taxes, when we're talking about funding access, developing a registered apprenticeship unlocks subsidies and California grants that can offset training costs and ease tax pressures. Additionally, apprenticeships reduce expensive hiring and retraining by building a stable long-term workforce. And no surprise with regard to productivity, tailored training through registered apprenticeship boosts efficiency, enabling small businesses like yours to absorb tax increases without cutting staff or services. The takeaway here is that apprenticeships can have the ability to secure tax savings under certain criteria, but a registered apprenticeship program should be looked at as a strategic investment that pays off through savings and growth. Now, on the bright side, this last identified challenge is one that we can definitely help with. Apprenticeships in California are one of the strongest levers to align small business needs with state investment in continuing technical education. First, registered apprenticeships offer integration with CTE programs. Our registered apprenticeship programs partner with community colleges and adult education centers, the backbone of CTE, thus leveraging the continuing technical education infrastructure. There is also funding support as apprenticeships unlock classroom instruction or RSI reimbursements, and even in-house instruction can be sanctioned, while college programs can result in varying certificates and degrees. And a registered apprenticeship functions as a cost-sharing model, because the state funding pays for instruction, while businesses like yours provide on-the-job training, making workforce development affordable even in high-cost California. So with regard to this challenge number 4, by embedding apprenticeships into CTE, small businesses tap into state-funded training infrastructure. More apprenticeships creates a stronger case for CTE funding and results in more resources flowing back to small businesses. And while this might all sound great, we really want to understand what's in it for you as small business owners. So when we're talking about the benefits of apprenticeship for a small business owner, they include, as I've noted, access to funding for your apprenticeship program, developing uniquely customized training for your business. It includes strengthening relationships with your employees. I can help mitigate recruiting costs through a registered apprenticeship program and build diversity of thought and experience, reducing turnover rates. Notably, studies have shown that for every dollar invested in a registered apprenticeship program, the ROI is $1.47. And then finally, apprentices who complete the program are state certified. They receive a certificate to document not only their effort in the program, but the investment you made in them. So for California businesses, while apprenticeships help you build a workforce, we also protect the future of your business by developing internal talent. Employees are skilled, but more importantly, they're aligned to your specific business culture and goals. So at this point, I'd like to do a time check, and if people can enter in information about their business in the chat, we might be able to use that for an exercise if given time. We'll call this the 7th inning stretch, and I'll also ask people out there what they might want to look at next. So how are we doing on time? And is anyone willing to share their business in the chat for an exercise? If not, that's okay too. I can definitely go into what it takes to create a registered apprenticeship program, but would love any input you can provide. People need their coffee still. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to outline the process it takes to create a registered apprenticeship program. I will outline the difference between an apprenticeship and an internship, and I can then outline what the differences are between the Division of Apprenticeship Standards here at the state of California, as well as the Department of Labor apprenticeship at the federal level. And Wanda has a pre-apprenticeship that is open to all industries, and her apprenticeship is in healthcare. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So here's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to jump over to explaining what it takes to create a registered apprenticeship. So when we talk about the process for creating a registered apprenticeship, these are the different steps. And what you should know is that you start with speaking to a person like me. I'm an advisor. We gather information based on the vision that you have for your business and your workforce. I then transition you over to a program manager who builds the standards for your program. Those are the rules and regulations by which your program works, including on-the-job training and classroom instruction. From there, we hand your standards over to our review team to get to an ideal point here, which is a 30-day public posting period where your standards are posted on our website. After that, our chief can approve your program. You'll return back to our program manager to begin onboarding and adding apprentices. And the good news here is that we don't leave you when we don't walk away. We have an evaluation team that returns after a period of time to check on the success of your program and make sure that we can help you grow your program and continue to support apprentices coming through your business. Okay, and I also, as I thank you all, what I do want to do is I'd like to highlight for the people here differences between apprenticeship and internship, because I think this is important. When we talk about apprentices versus interns, there are key differences between the two, and those include understanding the purpose. So for internships, usually we're talking about people who are looking to explore various roles or various types of occupations. An apprenticeship is specifically about cultivating a skilled talent pipeline for your business. And while internships are usually very short, perhaps 3 or 4 months, a registered apprenticeship is 1 or more years long. And unlike interns, apprentices are always paid. They're paid employees of your business. Interns may or may not be paid. There is additional support around a registered apprenticeship that includes state and federal labor agencies, educational institutions. There's usually some grants or college credit applied when you're working with a registered apprenticeship. And finally, with a registered apprenticeship program, there are credentials that get provided after the program is completed by the apprentice. So this is, again, about making sure that your business has a talent pipeline that we're helping build specific to your business based on custom training in the classroom and on the job experience. Okay, now I can stop. Is there anyone out there that has questions? Because what I'd like to do is simply return to thank you for your time. I know this was a lot more formal than Jordan's presentation, but I did want to get a lot of information out there, and I will share this with Jimena, who can share it out to the group. Ideally, what we'd love to do, Laura and I, is have conversations with any businesses out there that are interested in exploring apprenticeship so that we can work together on understanding what you want to do and how we can partner to make that work for you. So on behalf of Laura, myself, and the Division of Apprenticeship Standards, we thank you for your time. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Abigail and Laura. This is really useful information, especially within our small business community, that this might look very far away from what is interpreted in a traditional matter when it comes to workforce development, when it doesn't really have to be a cost to your business, and it's the exact opposite. So we were really happy to be able to shed light on this opportunity and the resources that are out there to really foster one of these programs. And I'm sure, even though we might not have any questions right now, as if it was crystal clear, I wanted to ask you just a little bit of history and how apprenticeship programs have transitioned throughout the years. Has the requirements for the program changed, I don't know, post-COVID, or how did they look like a few years ago, and how much of an importance it has at a state level now?
I'm going to defer this one to my guru, Laura.
Can you ask that question one more time, if you will, please, Jimena?
Yeah. So my question well, I think it goes more along the lines of how the perspective over apprenticeship programs changed throughout the years. I also started off by saying that many, small businesses might see workforce development something as costly when it doesn't have to necessarily be that. How has the stigma been changed throughout the years to really reflect the benefit of apprenticeship programs and just workforce development programs overall?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We've actually seen a lot of changes over time. In in 2017 with AB 235, we were given these flexible frameworks for apprenticeship. So I think that's really kind of changed the landscape in total and opened it to the non-traditional side of the house, which is under the Interagency Advisory Committee on Apprenticeship. So really we're bifurcated at DAS. We have the legacy side, which is the building, construction, firefighting type occupations. And so that's been the historical place where we've had majority of apprentices, but what we've seen over time, and even through COVID, we've pivoted to take a lot of the programs online, and just kind of, this is a very flexible model, but we've just really seen a lot of innovation, a lot of expansion in all these various sectors. And I think even Wanda could speak to that in the healthcare sector, business services, even advanced manufacturing. It's a little more difficult with some of the crossover processes that work processes that we have with the trades. So we have some internal things that we're working through, but I think at the same time, there's so much growth taking place in the various industries on this side of the house that, we just have seen astronomical growth. We've also seen a lot of funding being given to apprenticeship. And so as a matter of fact, right now, I just wanted to let you know that the California Apprenticeship Initiative grants are open until the deadline is in January. So if people are interested in looking at that, there are no planning grants this year, but there are implementation and expansion grants available for apprenticeship. And a lot of our gold standard programs, the LVN to RN program, for example, from CCHCS and SEIU Local 1000, that was born on, some of these California Apprenticeship Initiative grants. And so, and they've expanded, into pre-apprenticeship, et cetera. So I think that a lot of these can act as seed money for various programs. We also have COYA grants, and that's for the youth programs. We've implemented formula funding, also apprenticeship initiative innovation funding. It's basically in arrears. It's per apprentice, up to $3,500 per year for them, and then another $1,000 if they were to graduate in that year. So we've seen a lot of innovation, not just with the programs, but also with funding sources and support in these ways. Something we're seeing right now is a lot of connection. So first, it was just kind of socializing the idea of non-traditional apprenticeship or in these modern industries. But now we're seeing more connectivity between various stakeholders. And so, the chancellor's office, has always been a part of these. But we're seeing where our stakeholders, CBOs or community-based organizations, and just a whole lot of our state agencies coming together as well. There's just a lot of collaboration between stakeholders throughout, with the intention of advancing employers, small businesses, medium businesses, et cetera. But so we're actually seeing a lot of connectivity right now, I think is kind of what's being highlighted, to work together for people to feel more able and as if those resources are more accessible for them.
That's awesome. And I think what also comes a lot into play is what we're doing right now and future collaborative efforts. It's really aligning industry to the talent that's out there, right? And as I said in the beginning of my remarks, is that we really emphasize also in preparing the workforce of the future. So if you have any intel on that, on maybe how the state establishes those partnerships to really identify the industries of the future and how to shape talent into that particular field, that would be awesome.
Great. We actually go by the governor's initiatives a lot of times. The Jobs First and the 5-point plan are things that have been kind of a guiding post for us. And so, and then there's been a lot of funding for advanced manufacturing, different STEM occupations, education. We're creating pathways there. So I think as far as small businesses are concerned, I know that AI is a large part of that. And so just kind of, we're seeing a lot of growth in those areas. I think we're heading into areas where we don't yet even know how great the creativity can be for these small to medium businesses. And so that's something that we're excited about, just because we are a flexible model of apprenticeship, and we can actually put this onto any size business, any type of business, and really kind of works from the employer's criteria as opposed to just our criteria. It's not like we have 1, 2, 3 plans to give you. We have actually we actually kind of reverse engineer from what, as Abigail had mentioned, from the employer's vision, and we kind of work backwards and try to fit that, along with their HR policies and various things of that nature. So very flexible model, and I think people just don't realize what's available to them in that way, because it really can fit any size business.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Laura and Abigail. That's all the time we have for today. And I'm really excited that this information will stay on demand for our network to tap into later on, whether it be the resources that are out there, grants, funding, or just even your contact information. This will be something that it remains in our records. So I'll follow up with any further questions, anything else as we delve into the new year. And I look forward to working with all of you all just to foster our talent pipelines and our workforce to industry. So thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day. Just to wrap up, happy holidays as well. Just to wrap up, I just wanted to make some quick announcements of some upcoming events. happening at the Chamber. So, of course, we have our International Tribute Awards happening on December 10th next week at the Mingay Museum. It's a great venue and a great occasion to celebrate those leaders and organizations that really enhance San Diego's global competitiveness through cross-border or international initiatives. So make sure to check that out. And then we have our set dates for our 2026 leadership delegation to Sacramento from the February 3rd through the 4th. So I'll post a link to our events page on the chat and hope you can all take a look at it to check your agendas, your schedules, and hopefully you can join us there. So thank you so much, everyone who joined us online. We look forward to the new year and seeing more of these particular programs and series for our small business community. All right, bye.